Top tier air realistic right now is very unplayable. And honestly, I haven't played top tier ARB in many months for a reason. It just isn't fun anymore. So if you guys are, not necessarily too familiar with top tier air realistic battles right now, it's pretty much been very, I would say very terrible since the addition of the Eurofighter, the F-15E, and the Su-30SM. Simply because these Fox 3s we have in the game don't have a proper counter. In real life, things like the F-18, the F-15, the Su-30, the Eurofighter, the Rafale, all of these aircraft carry electronic countermeasures. These are systems that they can use to counter these advanced air-to-air missiles. We don't have that in War Thunder. We also don't have the next generation of Fox 3s. We have the AIM-120C5 as the most modern AMRAAM for the United States, and for other allied aircraft that use it. That's the most modern air-to-air missile we have in the AMRAAM family. We have the C7, but it's only for the Claw system. We have the R-77-1 for the Russian aircraft. This brings it to AIM-120 standards, makes it actually on par with things like the AIM-120A and B. And on top of all this, the C5 isn't actually better than the AIM-120A and B, which is just really confusing. The other thing is we have things like the Mika-EM. We have, that's kind of your three big missiles. You have the Derby, you have the R-Darter, but those kind of are what they kind of just fall into. We don't have things like the AIM-120C10. We don't have the AIM-120D. We don't have things like the AIM-174 or even the AIM-260, which is getting fielded with the F-18 right now. So it kind of is like, what is Gaijin's plan to actually make top tier playable and enjoyable? Because unless they actually find a way to make electronic countermeasures work, which they have not yet, it really is just whoever shoots first and can spam enough chaff in a notch is going to win. And this just isn't fun gameplay. I mean, you climb, you shoot off some missiles, you hope to get a kill, you probably won't. You try to descend before letting other enemy missiles hit you, using up all your chaff and flares, and then end up either dying to a plane you never see, or an IR missile you just can't defend against because you've used up all your countermeasures in your notch. It's not fun gameplay. I really wish Gaijin would change it, and some of the things that they could do right now is actually pretty simple. One, they could reduce team sizes. This reduces the amount of missiles you have in the air at one time. If you think about this logically, the F-18 can carry 12 air-to-air missiles. So this is 12 AIM-120s. And if you just have only 4 of those shooting missiles at the same time, you already have 58 missiles in 48 missiles in the sky at the same time. Now, times this with things like the Eurofighter, the F-15E, the Rafale, and they're all shooting. You can have up to 100 missiles per side in the air at the same time. That's not fun gameplay. They also need to make maps way larger. These air-to-air engagements, realistically start happening at about 100 miles, if not farther. Yes, like I said, we don't have the most modern air-to-air weapons in the game, but I would much rather be a Eurofighter cruising at 40,000 feet at my top cruising speed, engaging targets, rather than my Mach 1.10 Eurofighter at 2,000 feet, spamming away and trying to survive. It's just more realistic this way. And really, I think the biggest downfall with War Thunder Air Realistic in the past year or so has been the addition of Fox 3s. I do think they came in a time that it, I guess, made sense, but it was also just kind of different. Players went from having to maintain radar lock, being able to play at higher altitudes with things like the AIM-7M and the R-27ER, to then having to learn a whole new play style with things like the AIM-120 and the R-77. And Gaijin didn't really make any major changes to air realistic battles before they added it. In fact, as far as I can remember, they didn't make any changes. It was just research the missile, have the missile, and then voila. There's also another big thing with the addition of the Fox 3s, and why it makes top tier and even lower BRs super not fun and basically not even playable. You have aircraft at 13.0, 12.7, that are going up against aircraft that they are pretty helpless against. I mean, doesn't take a rocket genius to say that the AIM-7P is going to go toe-to-toe with an R-77. Yet, you know, premium Hornets at 12.7, they can see 13.7. That still has aircraft like the F-15C. That is a very capable 4th generation fighter. Not that the Hornet isn't, the issue is Fox 1s just really do not belong in the same spot with these Fox 3s. If Gaijin could figure out a way to make it where it's impossible for Fox 1s to go up against Fox 3 aircraft, so super early Hornet models can't play late generation F-15s, it just would make a lot more sense and make everyone way more happy. Another big con with the additional with all the Fox 3s and playing in top tier ARB is there just isn't the things that make War Thunder fun. And it's such a big change jumping from, especially if you're a free-to-play player. I mean, keep in mind, players spend many, many months, if not a year, grinding out an entire tech tree. So imagine for a year, your entire doctrine went from propellers that fly 300 miles an hour to in great dogfights, to jump to early Cold War jets that had faster dogfights, to jump to Cold War jets that introduced IR missiles, to then jump to later Cold War jets that introduced semi-active radar homing missiles, and all of a sudden you are now learning a whole new game style. And then once you make the jump from something like the F4E or even the F-15A to the F-15C, you have to learn everything new again, because it's a whole different playstyle. It's honestly a crazy jump to me. Obviously, I don't think this is the same sort of issue that premium players have, because a lot of premium players, they buy an F-18C, they're going to, by the time they have unlocked like the F-15C, they're going to have learned how to counter Fox 3s and will have a basic idea on how to use them. It kind of just comes down to player preference, but right now, top tier air realistic battles for me are terrible, they're unplayable, they're not enjoyable. I really hope Gaijin makes some major fixes in the next year or so. Right now, it just isn't fun to play some of these new aircraft, and with things like the F-22, the F-35, the C-57, the J-20 around the corner for December of 2026, if that is what ends up happening, I don't know what to say. I think we'll see electronic countermeasures introduced by then, I hope so. I also would really hope we'd see larger maps and changes to how ARB is played and new objectives against AI. Those are just my thoughts. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. If you guys are not already subscribed, please consider hitting the like button and subscribing. And I hope you guys have enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.